I'm chicka wow, chicka wow, Pikachu, do re mi fa sol.
Erin, what are you doing?
Hey Britt, I'm just warming up for talent later on in the show today.
We're presenting real soon.
Presenting?
Yeah.
No, I'm talent today.
You're presenting today with me.
No, Britt, you don't understand. I have been hanging to be talent all year, and the semester's nearly over, so I'm losing my chance to be talent. So I'm talent today. You don't understand, Brittany. I have a light that needs to shine.
Wow.
I am the X Factor. You just don't understand. Come on, you come join with me. We don't need a host. We can just be talent like the whole half an hour, just all talent. Come on, join in with me. I'm Erin.
And I'm Brittany.
And this is Studio 20 Live. Well, thank you for joining us today. We have plenty in store for you guys. A bit later on, we're going to have a chat about the Ebola crisis that's been going on in the news over the last couple of months, actually. And so we're going to break that down and just really shine a new light on it. And of course, then later on, we're going to be joined by the lovely Talissa for eSpot and all things entertainment news.
And we're also going to hear your tips about buying your first car, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're going to hear about a little rant about Christmas decorations coming into the shops too early.
Yeah, I mean, I do love Christmas as much as the next person. But, you know, when I see Christmas trees in the shop in like August, it gets me really, really excited for Christmas. But then I realise there's all this time until Christmas and then I just get sad. So
yeah, it's not great.
No, it's not great.
Anyway, moving on. We're going to hear the news today, so we're going to hear from Sarah.
Thanks guys, here's what's making news today. In breaking news this morning, parts of the Canadian city of Ottawa were in lockdown after a gunman shot and killed a soldier at the National War Memorial. Following this, the gunman entered nearby Parliament buildings and opened fire up to 40 times as politicians, including Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, barricaded the doors. Local police have confirmed that the gunman has been shot dead, but it is not known if he acted alone. Friends of 17-year-old Bankstown teenager Abdullah Elmir have told the ABC they support his decision to join Islamic State militants. He recently appeared in a propaganda video aimed directly at Tony Abbott and the people of Australia. Meanwhile, discussion around treatment of returned Islamist fighters has heightened as Denmark reveals it offers free psychological counselling and helps those returning from terrorism hotspots to find a job. On Tuesday, Gough Whitlam died at the age of 98. In his years as Australian Prime Minister from 1972 to 75, he launched sweeping reforms, including Aboriginal land rights and free medical care. The Greens posted a tribute to Gough's policy for free tertiary education and likened it to their legacy of a progressive Australia, a move that Labor has called grave-robbing, offensive and opportunistic. Looks like everyone wants a piece of Whitlam's legacy. Yesterday, a drug-affected driver, Marco Paul Silvestri, was jailed for 8 years for causing a crash that killed an unborn baby and left her mother, Jacqueline Sparks, infertile. Ms Sparks and her two brothers both suffered life-threatening injuries in the Dapto crash in September 2013. And finally, it's Free Burrito Day for the opening of the Mexican taqueria Guzman y Gomez at the newly opened Wollongong Mall. Up until 8 p.m. tonight, you can join the line of 150 people for the sweet taste of freebies. Back to you guys.
The Ebola virus epidemic in West Africa has been in the news for several months now. It's become a trending topic worldwide as people from Spain, the US and even Australia have returned from parts of Africa with signs and symptoms of the disease.
Whilst it is not entirely clear how the Ebola outbreak starts, the initial infection is believed to have occurred by a human coming in contact with an infected animal.
Humans can transfer the disease through bodily fluids. Symptoms include headaches, vomiting and excessive internal and external bleeding.
Last week, the World Health Organization reported over 9,600 suspected cases and over 4,800 deaths.
There is still a lot of uncertainty surrounding Ebola and whether we should be worried about an outbreak here in Australia.
Now, to break down the severity of the crisis, we are joined today by Dr. Jennifer Todd from UOW School of Health and Society. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, Jennifer. So we'll just get straight into it. Some health officials are trying to reassure Australia that we're well prepared if in case an Ebola crisis sort of strikes. However, some don't agree. What's your thoughts on the matter?
Well, I'm not intimately familiar with the plans for response from the Australian government. However, it's always better to plan for the worst. And if we plan for the worst, then you are ready to respond to anything short of that. So I'm sure that the government now has lots of contingency plans in place should a case be discovered within the borders. Yeah.
Right, and in terms of like, not so much the dramatisation of it, but, you know, the way that people are responding to the Ebola crisis. The UN has warned that it takes 60 days for the Ebola crisis to be under control. What do you think on that? Is that blowing it out of the water? What do you think?
Yeah, well, this is really uncharted territory. This has never happened before, and we really haven't, has sort of caught us off guard because this is not a scenario that we have been planning for. In the past, Ebola outbreaks have been very well contained, and because you either recover or die very quickly, the outbreaks tend to burn out very quickly. In this case, it has gone beyond an isolated small village, and as you can see in the news, it has jumped now to at least 7 countries, and this is something, again, that we did not expect to happen, and therefore we were caught a little bit off guard. Yeah. So it's possible, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen because we haven't modeled this scenario worldwide. They do predict that by the time it is contained, that somewhere between 20,000 and 1.5 million people will die. Hopefully we can keep it contained, and it does look like the cases are their trajectory is starting to even off and take the right turn. But it's really about containing it now, as early as possible.
Yep, jumping on it early.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Right. Some Australians have volunteered over in Africa, such as Libby Bowell, and she's actually experienced, people have avoided her once she's got back. Are many other Australians that have volunteered experiences as well?
I haven't heard about specific anecdotes, but I have read some statements in the news by some people in authority positions that it's irresponsible for people to go and work in Africa in these hot zones. And I think that's really unfortunate because these people are exceptionally brave and very selfless to go into a situation that is so devastating, and they're putting themselves in harm's way to help others. They generally go through a rigorous clearance before they would come back to in country. So the likelihood that they would bring anything with them is very low. So any backlash against these people, I think, is really, really very unfortunate. Yeah.
Definitely. So for those people, in terms of the psychological repercussions, what do you think, do you think that in the future that there will be things developed to help these people in those circumstances if the outbreak is going to just continue? Yeah,
well, that's a great question, and actually there are some really good supports for people, and not just going to people who volunteer to go to an Ebola site, but any kind of disaster. It's can be very hard on you psychologically to digest the images that you're seeing and the suffering, and so there are a lot of mental health supports available, and there is a specific kind of support called critical incident stress debriefing or critical incident stress management, that once you return from something that is potentially very traumatic, that it's a particularly special kind of emotional support that you get to help you process what you've seen, what you've been through, what you've had to do.
It's the whole experience.
Yes.
And so in your research, what has been the most interesting part of it?
I think that the most interesting thing is just, and interesting and frightening, is watching this unfold. And because, as I mentioned, this isn't really something that we'd modeled, that we had sort of had our eyes on, it's been a little frustrating to see bureaucracy move at bureaucracy speed, which it does. Governments move at government speed, and bureaucracies move at bureaucracy speed. But we need to move at virus speed, because that's the speed that Ebola is spreading. And it will continue to spread until we get in front of it.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
Giving us
for
a
joining
great
us.
insight to the crisis and shining a light on it. Up next, we are going to take a little look at some financial perspectives on buying new cars and buying cars online. Buying a car can be the second biggest purchase that you make in your life. As students, it all comes down to understanding the most cost-effective way to go about this. While saving up to buy a car is a big step, it is important to be smart when it comes to actually purchasing a new or used vehicle. New South Wales Fair Trading provides a variety of helpful tips for buying a car. Remember, it is important to know what you need and avoid buying anything with unnecessary features. Always check and recheck your budget and make sure that it is something you can afford in the long run, and expect the unexpected with any additional repair or fuel costs.
I guess the main message that we want to send out would be just to read your contract. Be careful what you're signing up for. It is your money, so just take your time. Don't rush into anything. Shop around and just be smart with your money.
Students often find it more cost-effective to buy a used car through a private or online sale. When doing this, it is financially important to check the car is road certified, find out if there is any money owing on the car, insist on paying by bank cheque rather than cash, and beware of a vehicle offered at below market price, as there could be something wrong with it mechanically. Most of all, when it comes to buying a car, never be afraid to ask too many questions, especially about deposits and contracts.
Thanks for that, Erin. It was really insightful.
Yeah, I know. It's just a little bit concerning how much people don't think about when they're not only buying their first car, but buying online and doing private sales. Like, there's so many things that you need to consider, as opposed to buying it from a car yard. And you just really need to do as much of your research, especially with the budget. Like, you might think this is how much I want to spend on a car, but you need to think in the long run. So I just thought it was quite interesting, a bit of financial help for you all out there.
Well, thank you for that.
No worries.
Now we're going to hear about what's on in Wollongong.
Well, welcome
Hello.
to the couch, Alyssa.
Thank you
It's
very
lovely to have
much.
you back again.
Thank you.
Scott, hit us with the latest goss, all that jazz in entertainment news.
No, that's right. Well, a bit of sad news up first. Unfortunately, we've lost a legend in the fashion industry. Oscar de la Renta has passed away at age 82. Now, he's dressed every celebrity you can think of. You can see his latest collection on the screen there. There was a gorgeous dress that Sarah Jessica Parker wore, which is that black and white number from earlier in the year. Jessica Biel's been seen in his garments recently. There was a black dress and also that beautiful gold one that was backless and strapless that got so much press around it because it's just so beautiful. He designs these gorgeous gowns, and unfortunately he has passed away at age 82.
Looks fantastic for his age as well.
Didn't he? But I mean, he was a legend in the fashion industry. But another legend that's kind of just starting out, but I can see her leaving a pretty big legacy, is Lorde. Now, Lorde has been asked to do the Hunger Games soundtrack, which is insane. You think this, 17-year-old from New Zealand out there just killing it really in the industry. So she's been asked to do the Hunger Games soundtrack. She's released a new song with the Chemical Brothers and Miguel leading up to the movie's release. So that song is really cool because it incorporates Lorde's kind of indie eerie kind of vibe with the electronic Chemical Brothers and Miguel's soul. So it's a really, really cool piece. It's definitely worth checking out.
Did you say that she was doing the whole soundtrack for the film?
Yeah, so she's not in every song,
Wow.
but she's recruiting all different artists to kind of collaborate together for
That's
the soundtrack.
fantastic.
It'll be awesome. And I mean, you've already heard her in some of the trailers trailers that have been released for it. Now, Hunger Games comes out in November, but tickets go on sale next week, so on the 29th of October.
For the movie?
For the movie, to go see it. So that's how far away. I know, it's so exciting. So yes, that's getting released in November. I've been waiting for it since the last one. It's kind of crazy how quickly this year's going. Something else that's getting released kind of shortly is the Avengers 2 movie, and that's coming out next year, but a trailer was leaked this morning, naughty people. So yeah, we're lucky enough to be seeing a trailer a little bit earlier than the company wanted you to see it. But here it is on the screen, Avengers 2, looking forward to it. Do you guys have a favourite Avengers character?
Thor. I think for
looking
obviously he's a great
hero, but there's some other elements
Chris
that aren't
Hemsworth,
too bad.
He's a good element.
Can we just have a moment? Just Chris Hemsworth. Let's just have a moment.
He's a good element.
He's beautiful. Chris Evans too. Another Chris.
Beautiful.
Hello. Is it something with Chris's in the entertainment industry? Because they're all beautiful.
If your name's Chris, you kind of have to have muscles.
You kind of have to be muscly. Sorry, Chris is out there. This is to you.
You've got a new standard.
The Avengers 2 did come out. The trailer was leaked overnight. Something else that came out in the last 24 hours is the Future Music Festival lineup. Now, I know that a lot of us were hanging for that. We were talking about it in the studio the other day. So they've released the 3 headliners as Avicii, The Prodigy, and Drake is coming to the country for the first time. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's good. I think it's interesting with all those festival lineups is they're always trying to outdo the year before.
Definitely.
But
it's hard to do that.
Somehow.
I know.
Well, Drake's a huge name, so.
Well, that's right, and it's his first time in Australia too, so Future Music can do that. Everyone's going to want to go to the festival. I've been to Future Music Festival for quite a few years now. It is an awesome festival, so many stages, and what they do really well is getting local DJs up on the stage as well. So there's a whole stage area for local talent and Australian artists. So it's a pretty cool festival. So check that out. It's coming for you on February 28th next year, so not too far away.
Good stuff.
Yeah, something else that is happening and happened in the media as well, getting a lot of talk surrounding it, is 360 and his appearance on Q&A. Now, we were discussing this in the studio just before, and we're not going to get too heated about it, but it's building a lot of it's just snowballing out of control, basically. So he brought up that he thought the flag was a symbol of racism in our country. We all have opinions on it. I'm sure you two do at home as well. But, I mean, it's kind of interesting to get people talking. And for the first time on Q&A in a very long time, they haven't had a politician on there.
Yeah.
So for a rapper, an Australian music artist, to go on Q&A is a huge deal. And for him to speak so openly on what he thinks about Australia and about our country, I thought was pretty awesome as well.
I mean, whether you agree with him or not, good on him for getting on there.
Exactly. And I mean, and it's not an opinion that everyone in the country has, and some people are quite against it. It's caused a lot of controversy, a lot of, harsh tweets being sent his way, but there are some people that do agree with it. So it's kind of interesting to get his perspective as well as a lot of other people's, and it started a really great conversation in our nation, I think.
Definitely.
And that also rhymed conversation in the nation. You're welcome at home. Yeah, but that's about
all right, well, we had our own little rant about that this morning, but now we're going to have a little rant about Christmas decorations.
Hey guys, we all look forward to Christmas, but what's annoying about it?
When they put Christmas decorations up really early, like it just feels like it's hurrying up the year, and I think it's like all money, and yeah, very focused around just getting as much money in the shops as possible.
I went to Kmart the other day and they've already started putting up a whole bunch of aisles of like chocolates and advent calendars and things. Advent calendars I'm pretty sure are only through December, so I don't know why they're bringing them out at the beginning of October. For me, I guess Christmas is about family, not commercialisation of the event. So,
how could anybody be that cynical about Christmas?
We all do love
Honestly.
Christmas here, don't we?
I mean, I did say earlier that it makes me sad when I see Christmas trees in the shop in August, but that's only because I'm so excited for Christmas. It should
have
be
to
around the
wait so
corner, but
long.
it's really
Yeah.
not around the corner at that time.
Yeah.
It's around the corner right now.
Yeah. Speaking
Anyways.
of Christmas, we've got a special Christmas surprise for you next week, so make sure you tune in.
That's
That'll be
right.
exciting.
And unfortunately, that's pretty much all we've got time for today. But of course, we're going to leave you with a fantastic talent. Not me. Sorry. But someone who is actually
We're relieved.
talented.
We're really relieved.
Hey, the lovely Ria singing her very own song, Feels Like Fire.
Thanks, girls. Are you there? Screaming out somewhere, reading all the signs. Feel the sunlight on my face. Cold out here, lost in outer space. And just so you know, you will always be the hardest thing I will let go. Driving past your church and all my houses in a row. Feel it in my chest as fire. Feels like fire. See me smile, thinking about the days, like reflecting in your eyes. You were never the same. I wanna run out just to hear you say, take me anywhere, roll us into hell, I don't care. Just so you know, you will always be the hardest thing I will let go. Driving past your house and all my hearts out in a row. Feel it in my chest as fire. Feels like fire. Just so you know, don't let anybody tell you you can't say what you want. I can hear you, are you on your way? Feel it in my chest as fire. Feels like fire. And just so you know, you will always be the hardest thing I will let go. Driving past your church and all my houses in a row. Feel it in my chest as fire. Just so you know, don't let anybody tell you you can't say what you want. I can hear you, are you on your way? Feel it in my chest as fire. It feels like fire. It feels like fire. It feels like fire.
That was fantastic. I'm just going to come around.
Over to you, yeah?
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks for performing for us today. How long have you been writing your own songs and performing for?
I haven't been writing my own songs for long, but I've played the guitar since high school and got into that whole Green Day grunge thing. And then when I moved to England a few years ago, and I played the drums mostly actually, so now I've just gotten back into the guitar this year. So
You couldn't bring them back with you.
no, I couldn't. I had to sell them.
Sorry, lame dad joke.
So what inspired you to write this song?
Well, I mean, just when you feel it, you have to get something out, and you just pick the guitar up, and usually the best songs are written in 10 minutes for me, so it didn't take long. So
How long did that one specifically take?
About 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
What a pro.
It's not that bad, you know. Sometimes I spend years on one song, so you know when it's.
Have you got any gigs coming up?
Yeah, I'm playing a few gigs. I took a bit of time out to record some of these songs, so they're coming out soon. I got a few on SoundCloud at the moment, so yeah. So I've got a few gigs coming up, like Alibi and places like that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for playing.
It's a pleasure.
You're fantastic. A lot better than me.
I really liked it.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in, as always. Next week is our final show, so please tune in because it's going to be a great one.
It'll be special, we promise.
Very special. Thank you so much, and see you later.